Right, so get this. OpenAI, the folks behind ChatGPT, they just released something totally new. It's called Canvas. And for someone like you who's interested in how AI is changing things, well, this is big.
Huge.
We're doing a deep dive on this
Yeah.
because you're curious about how ChatGPT is evolving, right?
Yeah.
And Canvas, well, it's a pretty significant leap. It takes ChatGPT from just being a chatbot to more like a collaborative partner, really.
know, right?
So what is Canvas exactly? Well, OpenAI is calling it a new way to write and code. It officially launched October 3rd of this year.
Yeah.
It's available right now inside ChatGPT for Plus and Team users.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, though. They usually roll these updates out to everyone eventually. The coolest part, it's not just a chat window anymore. Imagine having a workspace where you got your project on one side
Yeah.
and ChatGPT ready to help on the other. It's like having Google Docs,
Yeah.
but with some serious AI assistance built in.
It's really interesting how this changes the whole dynamic of using AI. I mean, before Canvas, it was all about giving ChatGPT commands, like write this or summarize that.
Exactly.
But with this update, it's more about working together, like back and forth.
Yeah.
And this is especially interesting for people who are already using ChatGPT for things like writing articles, emails, even coding. You know what I mean?
Right.
Instead of having to copy, paste, and explain, in that little chat window, now you're working side by side, which
Yeah.
is so much more intuitive.
Well, absolutely. And actually, one of the sources that we dug into even said that Canvas can sometimes open automatically. Like if it senses you're working on something, it could help with, which is kind of wild when you think about it.
For sure.
But let's get into the specifics, especially for writing, since, well, that's something everyone can relate to. With Canvas, you can edit your text directly right there in the workspace.
Mm-hmm.
And here's where it gets really cool. As you're writing, ChatGPT can actually make suggestions right in line with your text, just like a real-life editor would.
Oh.
Imagine having someone read over your shoulder
Yeah.
and whisper, hey, maybe try rephrasing that sentence like this. Or, that section could use a stronger example.
Right. Yeah.
Except in this case, it's ChatGPT doing the whisper.
It's true. And this isn't just basic grammar and spelling checks, because Canvas is built on OpenAI's latest model, GPT-4o. It's capable of much more nuanced and sophisticated suggestions.
Yeah, much more. This model is trained on a significantly larger data set, and it has a deeper understanding of language and context.
Absolutely.
You mentioned data sets, and it's worth pointing out that OpenAI's blog post really emphasized the speed at which they're able to train these models now. That means the technology is evolving so quickly. I mean, who knows what kind of features we'll see in the near future. It's pretty exciting to think about.
It really is.
Speaking of features, Canvas has some pretty impressive ones for coding, too. One of the sources we have here really highlighted the code visualization aspect. No more scrolling through endless lines of code in a chat window trying to figure out what changed. Canvas just lays it all out visually, which, knowing your preference for clarity, that must sound pretty appealing.
It does. It really does.
Plus, there are dedicated shortcuts for common coding tasks. Things like adding logs to track what's happening in your code, fixing bugs, even porting your code to a different programming language. And these are just a few examples.
What's remarkable is that they've managed to create an environment where collaborating on code feels just so much more fluid. Now, to be fair, perfect code collaboration. Challenging, even between humans, but Canvas, it's a huge step in the right direction, I think. It really is part of this larger trend, this move toward AI coding assistants that are, deeply integrated into the way we work. And Canvas is really at the forefront of that. It's not just about making things faster either. It's about fundamentally changing how we approach these creative and technical tasks.
It makes you wonder, what could this kind of collaborative AI mean for, I don't know, say the way we learn? Imagine, students using Canvas to brainstorm ideas for essays, or getting real-time feedback on their writing.
Right.
And even having the AI help them to structure their arguments more effectively.
Oh, for sure.
It could be incredibly empowering, especially for students who maybe don't have access to tutors, or who struggle with certain aspects of writing.
It really raises some intriguing questions about the future of education. If AI can provide this level of personalized support, how might that change the role of teachers or the way we design curriculum even? Those are questions worth exploring.
Definitely. But it's not just about education. Think about the implications for the workplace. I mean, we've already talked about presentations and coding, but what about other fields? Could Canvas help architects design buildings? Could it help marketers craft more effective campaigns? I mean, could it even help musicians compose music?
It's certainly possible. And what's particularly interesting about Canvas is that it's not limited to one specific task or industry.
Yeah.
The underlying technology is adaptable. So as OpenAI continues to develop this collaborative AI, well, we could see it being used in ways we haven't even imagined yet.
And that's what's so exciting about all of this, right? It's not just about the features that Canvas has today. It's about the potential it unlocks for the future. This idea of rethinking what's possible when humans and AI work together. Remember that point you made earlier about how using AI used to be like giving commands, and now it's becoming more about working together.
Yeah.
That shift feels really significant.
It is significant. And for someone like you who's clearly interested in staying ahead of the curve, this is something to pay attention to. Because as these AI tools become more sophisticated, more integrated into our lives, it's going to change the way we approach, well, everything, from work to learning to creativity.
It's like we're at the very beginning of something huge here, and it's like hard to even grasp the full implications yet, but definitely an exciting time to be paying attention.
Absolutely. And one thing that OpenAI seems to understand is the importance of making these tools accessible. Yes, Canvas is launching first with their paid tiers, but they've made it clear that it will be available more broadly soon.
That's a good point. It seems like they're really trying to make this technology available to as many people as possible, which is important if we want to explore its full potential. So for our listener who's been following along with us on this deep dive, what are some of the key takeaways here?
Well, I think the biggest one is this idea of a fundamental shift in how we interact with AI. Canvas is a great example of how we're moving away from AI as a simple tool and toward AI as a collaborative partner. And as we've discussed, this has the potential to impact, well, virtually every aspect of our lives, from the way we work and learn to the way we express ourselves creatively.
It's almost like we're giving ourselves superpowers,
Yeah.
right? Like imagine being able to bounce ideas off of
Yeah.
an AI that can, process information and make connections in
Right.
ways our brains simply can't.
Exactly. And while it's important to acknowledge the potential downsides and ethical considerations surrounding AI, there's no denying that this technology has the power to unlock incredible possibilities.
Absolutely. And it all circles back to what you said earlier. It's an exciting time to be paying attention to this space. Who knows what the next breakthrough will be, but we can be sure it's going to be interesting. It really does feel like we're on the verge of something big here. And for you, our listener, the biggest takeaway here is that this isn't just some, abstract tech thing. This is about tools that can help you right now, today, whether you're writing, coding, or just trying to wrap your head around a complex project. Canvas has the potential to really change the game.
It's like having a thought partner, available 24/7, It's like someone who can help you explore different angles, refine your ideas, and maybe even come up with things you never would have considered on your own.
Exactly. And the best part is, you don't have to be a tech expert to use it. OpenAI has gone to great lengths to make Canvas intuitive and user-friendly. So, if you're intrigued by what you've heard today, I'd encourage you to dive in and experience it for yourself. Sign up for ChatGPT Plus or Team if you can, or keep an eye out for when it becomes more widely available. Trust me, once you've had a taste of this kind of AI collaboration, there's no going back.
It really makes you wonder what other forms this kind of human-AI partnership might take in the future, right? What happens when these tools become even more powerful, even more integrated into our daily lives?
It's a question worth pondering. And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought as we wrap up our deep dive into Canvas. The one thing that's crystal clear is this: the future of creativity, productivity, and maybe even how we think itself is going to be deeply intertwined with AI, and that future is looking pretty exciting.